All right, you're hot. Here we go. So I go now? Right now? I'm good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ask Kenny, he's in charge. I'm just gonna go
The king has unrightfully taken away from the lower peasants in the state, taking their taxes, using their money unwisely on his wife and others, mostly his wife, and continually been, as his servants call him, not rightful as the king, as he doesn't want, seems as what he doesn't want to be the king. Why have a king if he doesn't want to be a king? It's like having a dog run your country. Thank you.
Okay, are you done?
Yep.
Okay, defense team, opening statement.
He's doing it.
I'm doing it?
Yeah.
This is just, hey, give an overview of our 3 pieces of evidence and say here's why we should let him remain king.
Alrighty. So, Your Honor, I believe we should let King Louis remain king because he's the first king in France's history to give up some of his power in order to give Parliament more rights. He's also the first king yeah, that was wrong, but ever since that he was challenged to be king, there's been riots that have caused hundreds and hundreds of deaths, and the country has been spiraling out of control. That one's written twice. Yeah,
Can I get one last thing in there?
sure.
And I think it's also important to remember, Your Honor, that God chose me, and no court and no team of revolutionaries can ever claim my throne because it's given to me by God. We know that about kings throughout all of world history. God willed that I be the king, so who are they to challenge that? Okay, it's your first piece of evidence. You watch too many corner. Yes.
You read the first one. And go on about it and say, and then at the end say, God doesn't spend money that much. Or something.
Your Honor, the king has bankrupted France. He spent all of his peasants' money, the taxes that they pay, on palaces, clothes, jewelry for his wife. He basically wasted all that money. Those peasants are starving to death. They're living on the streets, just paying for his wife's fat husband. I'm sorry. It's not fair. Peasants are dying for just the king, and it's not right. Would God want that? I don't think he would. Thank you.
Okay. Our rebuttal? Misappropriate. Like, misspend it. Like what the
So-
sheriff did.
If the worst thing our king has done is misappropriate some money, then I don't really see why this is such a big deal. He may spend some money on his wife, but if anybody has the money, then why not spend it on your wife? He also spends it on the hold that he runs in keeping your peasants alive. Like, you don't know what a hold is? Like the king, like, I don't know how to explain this.
Place,
Yeah, like the empire place. Like the whole,
Like his kingdom.
yeah, his kingdom, there you go, the hold.
Do you have any questions about that piece of evidence? We don't argue with the misspending money. I just remind you as the only married man in the room that if your wife is not happy, your life is not good. So do you need somebody to explain something, or you want to go to the next one?
Unhappy wife, unhappy
Okay.
life.
Who's giving our first one?
I guess I.
So figure out who's going to give your rebuttal to this, right?
Your Honor, since the king's power has been challenged, the country has spiraled out of control and led to hundreds of deaths, and there's been a lot of riots. Before his power was challenged, they didn't have those problems, and it's getting out of control.
Do you see the trend? There weren't any problems in this country until they started complaining and rioting and murdering people and putting their heads on a stick and having a parade.
Yeah, that's disgusting and messed up.
Pass it to them.
They say nothing was wrong in this country before we stood up and made a big riot and problem about it, Your Honor. First of all, because we started this because of what the king has been doing to us. Of course, it's been happening since the three estates has been established, but that is not the problem. We are tired of being treated unfairly throughout these years, and it's time for a change, a new government, and a new king, if not even having a king.
So are they the ones that stormed the prison?
Yep.
Okay.
So they're the revolutionaries. They want a republic where people elect their leaders like we have today. Okay, so now, Keegan, do you have questions on that piece of evidence about what Grace was saying? There weren't any big problems in France until they started complaining. Like, France was going along fairly well.
That's
then-
legit.
Yeah, no one was getting killed and getting their head on a stick, at least.
They were just starting.
Until they started complaining and rioting and storming prisons and releasing all the convicts. Do you have any questions about that? Okay, your guys' next piece of evidence.
Louis sent an army to crush the peasants who stormed the Bastille prison. He is a heartless monster. The peasants were fighting for its freedom since the king wasn't giving the freedom to us. He wasn't a good king because if it was a good king, he would give us our freedom and we wouldn't have to do anything else to him or to the prison.
It's perfectly explainable.
Your Honor, we went to storm after they stormed the Bastille, we went back over there to fight because what king is just going to let the peasants just go destroy his prison when the people that are in there for a reason? And then what they did to our governor is messed up. They cut off his head and put it on a stick and waved it around. And our governor didn't really do anything to deserve that. Just, yeah.
So as you can tell from the last two pieces of evidence, they're a bunch of bloodthirsty, crazy murderers, right? And guess what? They want to murder me next. Surprise, surprise. Okay, questions about that piece of evidence? Okay, you got our next one, or what's
No,
our
I
next?
did that one, the last one.
So it's
the
Tim.
next one? This is the next one.
Yeah.
All right. And what we got here, Your Honor, is that he was the first king to give up more of his power. Like, no one else in that much power has given up any to give parliaments any rights. And this is the first in France's history.
You guys' rebuttal?
So you said that he was the first king to give up some of his power. but some of his own servants, described him as a shambling idiot who would rather be locksmith than the king of France. So that proves that he doesn't really want to be king. He really doesn't want to care. So how does it matter if he gives a little bit of his power if he doesn't even care about being king? Thank you.
Any questions about that piece of evidence?
I got it.
So your third piece of evidence, right?
Yeah.
We got our best one for last, so.
Louis has been sending money abroad to raise foreign armies to invade France. What kind of a king would invade his own country that he runs, and now he's waiting for the Austrian army, where his wife comes from, to come and rescue him and save him from us that are invading and we are fighting for our freedom over, and as peasants that are starving, we want a better life, a new life, and a new country.
Okay. Perfectly explainable. First, you have to remember where my wife is from. And she's not perfect, but she's pretty. She's from Austria, right? Under threat from these bloodthirsty murderers, I just told my father-in-law, our friends, the Austrians, if these guys are threatening the country for the good of France, I need your army to come help protect us. So what you have to decide, Your Honor, is who really has France's best interest at mind, okay? Because I did ask for an army to help protect my own country. Isn't that what good kings do? Rather than let some band of terrorists overthrow the government, murder everybody, put their heads on a stick, and have a barbecue? Because that's what these guys are going to do to the country. So out of compassion and caring for the French people, I just said, hey, if things go bad here, maybe you should send an army to help France. So, not only is that not anything bad, I'm looking out for the country by doing that. Okay? So, last piece of evidence for us. The number one cause of all of this upheaval, as you guys all agree on both sides, number one cause of this upheaval, three-estate system. Do you agree? Okay, let the record show they all nodded. I did not come up with that. It's been around for 300 or 400 years before me. And, like my defense attorneys told you, I am the one king in French history who's given up the most power and made the most change. So don't think that I'm going to give away all my power overnight, but over time, they have to admit I've been giving them some power, saying maybe I'll have a constitution and give the people rights. No king in the history of France has ever done that. And the main problem's not my fault. The three-estate system's been around for hundreds of years. That's our last piece, so closing statements next.
It wasn't your fault for the three-estate systems, but you could change it if you're a good king. And if you wanted the best for us, we wouldn't have to do all the things that we needed to do. And you're trying to kill us, but if you're a good king, we wouldn't be putting people's heads on sticks, and you wouldn't be asking people for their warriors.
Okay. Question? Closing statement, then you decide.
You know what we're talking about.
So, of course, the king didn't come up with the three-estate system. We can't blame him for that.
Yes,
But
thank you.
I wasn't finished. But he has all the power to do whatever he wants, so why can't he do a little bit of change? Of course, we have to start a fight. If no one will, then how will it change? We have to make it change. It just won't change by itself. He's killing our people. We're innocent. We have to pay for taxes when they're eating so much food in the morning and clothes and jewelry. We just want a little bit of freedom and equality.
And which option do you want him to choose?
I want you to kill him. Please. Thank you. Because he deserves it.
All right, Your Honor. We believe that you should choose option one, keep him as king, and that's because he is not at blame for the three-estate system, and they killed more people in this one riot than he has over his whole time as king. And he hasn't really done anything wrong.
Objection.
You can't object.
Tell him to shut up.
And he is doing what no other kings have done before and trying to spread his power out but not give it fully away. And we have to keep a king because without a king, the country would go crazy and there wouldn't be anybody to keep everybody in order. Thank you.
Do we have a
Nope. Let's call a
Can I just say
closing
something
statement.
right now, though?
Okay.
It's like
No.
silence.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen. You need to choose which option, and you're going to explain why you chose it. Like, what evidence or arguments made you choose that, or were really powerful and reverberated with you.
Okay. About this. So how does this thing work?
Just pretend it's a microphone.
It is a microphone though.
I know, just hold it like it's a microphone.
Like which button do I push?
You don't have to push anything.
No.
When the red's on, it's recording.
Okay. So. I think exiled for life.
Why?
Because for one, the money deal. Who cares about the money? Like really, like. Well, I know you do, but for one, you guys have no right for storming the prisons. That has nothing to do with what he's doing with the money. And I don't know why you would target someone else. The governor.
The leader of the prison.
And that's setting a bad example for the country. And then I think that
What about this calling up Austria for an army? You said and say that.
I think that's just being a leader to try and support because you're supporting your own country, trying to keep it safe and
Amen, brother.
then
So what makes you think I shouldn't get to stay as king?
the money part too, because it should be going to other things other than just your wife and the house
You've
or
never
the
had a
kingdom.
wife, you don't understand. Especially like I have.
But still, if you're in charge of a country, you should look for other things to put that towards.
I admit I wasn't the best about spending my money.
All right. And being exiled, you have, and being exiled, you also have family in Austria that you could go live with.
I hate my in-law.
But it's just what's got to happen.
Okay. Well, thanks for not executing me. I appreciate you being my dad. Okay.